I remember we were sitting at Stereo Boom, and there was a chick up by the DJ booth, fucking gorgeous, right? Runs the 4x100 at Arizona State, very, very pretty. And I saw her look at me, and then like 5 minutes later, I saw her off to my left. And then she came up and was like, hey, I just have to come up and like talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, I got a fucking kid on the way, you know, I'm spoken for. And she's like, well, can I just like hang out? And so like we hung out, danced, and then I ended up seeing her back to Camp EDC. And she was like, hey, are you sure, you know, you don't want to fucking hang out? And I'm like looking up, and I could see the motherfucker,
the Jinn?
The fucking
Shut
Jinn
the fuck up.
Hanging out on her. And I was just like, dude, this motherfucker is trying to get me, like cast a fucking spell on me or something. And,
whoa,
but
man.
Dude, every time it happened, there was always, cause there was like a group of girls that kind of came by, and I realized too, what they do is they like come and hang, because you're in an area and they're walking around, and then they just stop in front of you, and then they like keep looking back and giving you this look and shit. And I'm just like looking up going, dude, there's a fucking, and it's crazy too, because the beautiful women always had like a buff ass Jinn attached to them.
Nice, dude, I can't even fucking believe this story, bro. But also, I mean, what even more like impressive and like awe-inspiring is like, fuck, dude, the story you're telling about your experience with rooftops and shit.
Yeah,
dude, because I had no idea that like you started it all on your own. I thought that like you and your dad had started it together.
no.
Man, that's fucking wild, man. And also, I can't believe how long EDC lasted.
Yeah.
Man, how are you alive at the end?
I don't know. I again, I didn't drink.
Oh yeah, man.
That was huge. And then also, you know, I did a little yayo, but like probably like 4 hits a night, and then some weed, you know. And then I did like a K hit, you know, a little key bump of K, maybe 2. And then the last night I did the best Molly I've ever done.
And is that the night where you saw?
Well, no, I saw them every night, but like it got stronger and stronger. And
your ability to see them? Dude.
And then the last night was when I went back to the RV, and the first, like, because I was on Instagram, and it was like somebody shared it or something. And
a picture of them?
No, it was a link to a YouTube video about Jinn. And I found the YouTube video. It's right here. Jinn, what are they? It's 19 minutes.
Dude, what?
And that picture, as soon as I saw that on Instagram, I'm like, dude, that's the fucking things I'm seeing. And so then I clicked on it, and then I watched the video, and it just kind of explains it. And yeah, it fucking blew my mind.
Dude. He's running the show around here, man.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking, I was taken back, you know, like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I mean, the whole series of your stories just making more. And then, like, after reading that Alchemy of 9 Dimensions and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, man.
No, because that's really, I noticed that we were in a different dimension last night. Because the first couple of nights, like, I kind of like, I was like, dude, this is so weird, you know? Because, like, you could see helicopters flying over and shit. But that last night, like, there was, like, I looked around a lot. Like, there's no stars. There's no fucking, You know, I didn't see anything flying overhead. And it was almost like there was like a sphere around us. And we were
Whoa.
in a different place. And I mean, the craziest thing though is like realizing that the energy transfers and stuff, everything's in it. Cause you say this all the time, but it's not just energy. It's all magic too. Like everything that you go throughout the day, women's looks, like that's a spell, right? Like everything is a fucking, cause I mean, and you know, if Kate listens to this, I don't give a shit cause I didn't do anything, right? But like this was the most attention I've ever gotten from women, like on a trip ever. It was like
no way.
Yeah. It was like non fucking stop. And, I remember we were sitting at Stereo Boom and there was a chick up by the DJ booth, fucking gorgeous, right? Runs the 4x100 at Arizona State. Very, very pretty. And I saw her look at me. And then like 5 minutes later, I saw her off to my left. And then she came up and was like, hey, I just have to come up and like talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, I got a fucking kid on the way. You know, I'm spoken for. And she's like, well, can I just like hang out? And so like we hung out, danced. And then I ended up seeing her back to Camp EDC. And she's like, hey, are you sure, you know, you don't want to fucking hang out? And I'm like looking up and I could see the motherfucker.
The Jinn?
The fucking
Shut
Jinn
the fuck up.
Hanging out on her. And I was just like, dude, this motherfucker is trying to get me, like cast a fucking spell on me or something. And,
whoa,
but
man.
Dude, every time it happened, there was always, cause there was like a group of girls that kind of came by and I realized too, what they do is they like come and hang, cause you're in an area and they're walking around and then they just stop in front of you. And then they like keep looking back and giving you this look and shit. And I'm just like looking up going, dude, there's a fucking, and it's crazy too, cause the beautiful women always had like a buff ass Jinn attached to them. Whereas like, you know, you'd see like an obese chick, you know, or an obese person that had one attached to them and it was always obese, or like, you know, like they all carried different characters and different like colors to them. And, again, I've been telling you, I've seen this at concerts and it always weirds me the fuck out, you know, but it just, the last night it was like talking to you, like I could see them and the pattern that everyone gets stuck in. Cause like, dude, it was so weird. Like you would look around and everyone's just walking around. And then as you would get closer to a stage, everyone was just like moving in like the same vibration basically. And it was so weird because we would get further away from the stage and all of a sudden we'd be walking in directions, but it was like everyone would just like stop talking and start moving, you know, towards something, right? And then we would hit something, grab a drink, boom, and then we're off somewhere else. It wasn't like anything was planned. Yeah. And I remember, like I told you earlier, that like I broke the pattern and stepped out and started looking around. And it was like all of a sudden, all of the creatures, the Jinn, fucking noticed that I broke the thing and were all staring at me. And then I just was like, and walked and like caught back up to my friends and got in the path. And like, then I was like, kind of like, you know, like, dude, what do I do? You know, like, I don't know what happens if they notice that you see them, you know? Yeah. It was fucking weird, dude.
It's blowing my fucking mind. Like because again, going back to that book, she talks a lot about like, and this goes back forever, like these ceremonies and like sacrifices. Like we don't really know what the full effect of what's going on at these.
Dude, and I wonder, I saw a guy collapse in front of me that had one attached to him that went down, and like everyone went like, I don't think that guy made it because it took 40 minutes to get the and like his lips were blue and like, dude, There had to have been people that died there, because there was a couple times where I saw that shit, you know.
Those are people in the crowd. Like, I'm talking, like, what if there's like, the more I study and attract information, the more I realize, like, everything is perfectly planned. Like, the dates of EDC are perfectly planned.
Yeah.
And they may even be perfectly planned with, like, astrological cosmic energy.
The location,
100%.
Las Vegas, where they gamble, they have hookers, like all the shit that happens there.
Yeah. The fact that they allow so much drugs in.
Yeah.
Like, they're allowing it. Like, it is a ceremony is not the word. Like, the word I'm looking for? Like, it is but also, like, it's programming that demographic and, like, the youth and shit like that. So, like, it's like, look at it. It's lust. It's fucking all of those. It's just sin, you know? And it's just, like, really just, like, bombarding people with that energy. Even, like, the frequency and the vibration, the music is like, it's
draws them together.
Yeah, 100%. So it's almost like these festivals and things are planned, you know, in order to program culture at some level. But then also going back to it, like, these jinn, like they're constantly stuck to people. Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, like, how much free will, if you're possessed, like, you don't have free will, like, they're controlling you, like, your impulses, your desires, your values are all, you're feeding them, like, they're sucking off of your energy.
Well, it was interesting finding out that, because like I said, I'd never even fucking heard of them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'd seen Aladdin, and then there's also a movie about the buff black dude that's going to play James Bond. I can't remember his name. He's in a movie where he's a jinn and he attaches to a chick and falls in love with her. Like, she rubs a genie's bottle or something, and then they end up falling in love. And he was like one of the original Jinns, Jan or whatever. But there's a movie about it, and I watched it on a plane once. But I watched that movie just thinking it was like a made up creature. And I've seen them, but he does not look like what the jinn look like.
Right? They look like what you were showing.
Yeah.
These energetic beings, these other dimensional beings.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Well, and even if you Google search them, right? Because I did that.
Yeah.
They don't fucking look like that. Like, they look like demons. Well, and I guess you could say they look like demons, but they look like cartoon character demons. You know what I mean? Like, their colors, they're like, you know, some of them were brown, some of them pink, some of them were green, some of them were blue, you know? But, like, I've been seeing them at concerts, and, like, I don't see them all the time, but when I was on that flight back from Miami, mm-hmm. I started feeling what everybody was feeling, and I started seeing all of them. So it's not all the time that it happens, but that was the strongest one for sure, was the last day at EDC. Like, it was everywhere, and they were fucking every fucking where, like, everywhere.
I mean, man, this is just really making my brain just, like, I don't know, like, a lot of, like, things are, like, coming together, like, in my mind, you know, because, you know, growing up, you know, and I'm sure you've heard and even believe, like, that there is a war going on, a war for your soul, like a war for good and evil, you know. And so, like, as we become more unplugged, like you were saying, like, when you stepped out of the pattern and you could see them, and then they saw you, and even, like, with women, because, like, the same goes for me. Like, the more I become unplugged and the more, like, I'm living a certain way, like, man, like, I get a lot of, not attention like you were talking about, but people, like, really look at me.
Yeah.
Almost like in Inception.
Well, I mean, the same thing was happening with guys too. Like, it wasn't like, but it's different though, you know, like, the women just seemed like they were, I don't know, it was weird. Like, they would make eye contact with me, and then it was like, then they would try to talk to me or whatever. And I could see the fucking thing attached to them. And I was just like, oh, you know, like, I don't want to fucking talk to her. And also, we've talked about this. This would be like the worst time to get in trouble with a female, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kate's pregnant. Like, I don't want to be an asshole. But even beyond that, it's like I can see these other dimensional creatures and I can see that they're attached to these fucking people.
Well, it's like that we've talked about before, like the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Like as we become as we become stronger spiritually, as we live more righteously, they want us more. Like the attention that you're getting, it's because they want to fucking plug into you. Like in like, let's say a state of orgasm, or in a, when you're in an altered state of consciousness, then you're open for them to fucking plug in, So like they see they see someone like, oh, we want to get into this person, and possess you. Cause like I really do like, and now hearing your story and all this stuff, like, I mean, I do think like we're here to do something.
Yeah.
Even to and for me, like it just keeps like you coming back to the RV and like having the it just like show up, and like, so this information, like, as you're going on your journey and you're uncovering like these special powers that you have to like see into these other dimensions and see these beings and shit like that, like the wisdom that you need to navigate it's like it's coming to you, like even that book, The Alchemy of 9 Dimensions, like it's so weird how like it's coming to us at these certain levels of the game, like how you studied it right before you went, and like I did too, and like when you're telling me this, like it's just all that stuff in that book's making sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like and I didn't even realize this until my friends were like, hey, meet me under the wood archway walking into EDC. And then I looked up and I'm like, holy fuck, there is a wooden archway. Like, why else would they have that there?
Yeah.
And why else would they have all these stages designed a certain way and all of these arches everywhere that you have to walk through to get to other places? There was even a fucking random ass, like area that you walked through that had different music going through it and like little chill spots you could hang out in there. Mm-hmm. That was a fucking portal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like everything is... Yeah, I don't know. It's just fucking weird. You
were saying earlier, like it is magic.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's good magic.
Yeah.
Because there's not like, again, righteousness is not happening there.
Right.
It's sin. It's, it's degrading, defiling, that's like the stuff that's going on there,
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. And again, like going back to that book, like these other dimensional beings, they're using people to like manipulate the third and control the third dimension. But like as like we wake up and more people are waking up to all of this, like that's a small, even though fuck, there's got to be 100,000 people there.
I think the 175 was like the average, or 125 or something like that was like the average wall. It's open. But there's 25,000 people in Camp EDC, and then the rest all, ship in from cars and shit out to the road.
That's so many people. That's crazy, man. It's crazy. Man, that's just wild stuff.
Yeah. And
dang, bet you didn't see that coming.
I didn't, man. And yeah. I didn't, because I've talked to you about seeing them before and like the John Constantine thing, And dude, I think that all of that shit is the same. Demons, jinn, like, yeah, it's all the fucking same thing. Because I mean, watching that video, they dive into the origin of them. So jinn was on the earth before humans, and Jan was the leader of the jinn, or the first jinn. And basically God came down and he denied his existence or something like that. And I mean, dude, it's all the same shit as the Bible, you know, the same shit as probably fucking Hindu scripts, the same thing as the Buddhist. It's just all different stories. Same thing with the flood happening, you know. So I just don't think anything is black and white as people think it is, right? Like I think that we just live in a mystical world, and I think that people have like picked up on it. And they've described it the best that they possibly can.
Yes.
And I think that, fuck, man, I don't know. You know, like I'm not an expert in it, but all I can say is what I've seen is plain as day. You know, man. And I've never heard of. Again, I've heard of them, but I've never like. Because they always, in cartoons and fucking movies and shit, they're always like handsome creatures. Right. But in real life, they ain't fucking handsome. Even the buff ones aren't good looking, you know? Right. Like they're fucking ugly ass, like they're scary looking, you know?
I mean, another thing that, man, made a lot of sense was when you were talking about like the Muslim women and covering up to not let them in. Yeah. And to also like...
Because the jinn fall in love with women. They don't fall in love with men. They use men, but they fall in love with women.
That's wild, man. But then also like, because once you let them in, like let's say if we were beautiful women, right? Once you get a taste of that attention, you want more of it. Yeah. To the point where like, hey, now that's like, oh, let me go start an OnlyFans. Let me sell my feet. Let me sell a picture of my butthole, you know, all this stuff. Because it's like, it is like a drug. Like your tolerance grows. And then next thing you know, you're freaking doing an eighth of blow by yourself, you know? And it's like, it's the same thing. Yeah. So like when they, in that culture, in the Muslim culture, is that, man, just don't let them get a taste of it. Like it really is like you're protecting the women from it, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, the origins of jinn comes from before even the Muslim religion. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because they were talking about it in like ancient Turkey and shit before Turkey was even Muslim, you know?
But they had to have like said, like someone had to have come up with that idea like, hey, like we got to
figure out how to...
Because you have to let them in. Right. Once you let them in, like we've talked about, like, hey, every morning when you wake up, they're trying to get in. Lust, gluttony, sloth, like it's trying to get in. And some people, like the door's always open, you know, they're plugged right in like you're seeing. And man, when they're seeing like a guy like you, they're with like no one plugged in, they're like, oh, I want to get this guy. And I want to get him through the lust, through the gluttony, through the whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, and maybe I had one attached to me at some point, you know?
For sure, yeah. I know I let that motherfucker in sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Slothfulness, lust, all the greed, you know?
Well, and we've even talked about the werewolf, you know?
100%. Yeah, that's just our way of describing letting one plug in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Huh. Man, but you know, and Sam brought it up, is that I think like the more that, and man, you're going to experience, man, when your son is born and you feel that love, it's like, oh dude, that's way better than, it's way better. So the more I think that you know, start living your life differently, man, I don't know, man. It's just that. I wish I could see what you see. Yeah. Because I like experiences like that. Because, let me ask you this, like compared to like the first festival and experience you had seeing them, are you even like as like nervous or whatever feelings you're feeling now?
No. Huh. Yeah, because I mean, the first time I saw it was at Hard Summer. Yeah. And I accidentally took too much acid. Yeah. Yeah. And then I was like flying over the crowd and I noticed, and it's the same thing too. Like no one's really paying attention to the music. Right. They're all looking around, but I don't think that they see that. If that makes, like, I don't think they're actually seeing anything. I think they're on autopilot.
Yeah. I don't think they're seeing I don't even, no way. Like you said, they're in a trance. Yeah. They are hypnotized. Yeah. And so it's like, Okay, I wish I want that word to come to me, but like it's almost like you congregate all these people together, you're playing this music, they're all in an altered state of consciousness, and they're generating this energy. And then the jinn are just feeding off that, like fucking Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
And now you have these festivals. I mean, look at Tin. He's going to them all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, man. So these festivals are happening all the time, all around the world.
Yeah.
Where just these jinn or these beings are just like having a heyday,
Yeah, and I mean, how long ago did they really start coming like this?
Right.
Yeah, this is within the last fucking 15, probably since the early 2000s. But even before that, like, yeah, I think it was like the late 80s when they started doing raves and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what was it? That one in the 70s. Woodstock. That was like unheard of.
Oh, yeah, for sure it was.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
they're gaining more strength.
Yeah, it's progressing. But I also think conversely then is that the light energy is gaining strength too.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
In fact, like, again with like the social media and the media machine in and of itself, like it's promoting that more than it's promoting any sort of like light. I don't know what we could call, light energy. I don't fucking know,
Yeah.
But people waking up, like, we don't really see that. It's only like through personal experience, meeting people and talking to them. Especially like, man, more and more. I would never want to like have us seem or sound like egotistical, but like I think very few people are at this level of like awakening. And so, like, when we talk to people and, like, COVID woke crazy.
Yeah.
A number of people woke up.
Right.
They're not seeing beings or having these experiences like we're talking about, but they're now questioning reality. They're questioning what they're being fed. But now with the money and all this stuff, like, it's more and more like people waking up,
Yeah.
So of those people waking up, like, how many of them just continue to progress up this spiritual growth level?
Dude, I wonder if like Russell Brand and shit is seeing these things.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When you bring that up, my intuition goes that he's not a good guy.
Really?
He's only talking about things that lower your vibration.
Yeah.
He's not talking about solutions.
Yeah.
He's promoting the problem. And just like what we've talked about, the Eye of Sauron, like when you're talking about it and paying attention, it's got you.
Yeah.
So like he's an agent.
So what do you think about the guy with the jacked face? What's his name? Aubrey.
I think he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's always talking about the solution. He's always, I would for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great polarization.
Or like Jay Griff.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Another guy that I've been following forever, Aaron Doughty. Like these other that are more spiritual, and they talk a lot about, like, again, it's more solution based. It's more about, hey, what do you need to do to embody and become more righteous versus like, look at the problem, look at the problem, look at the problem. Like, if you notice, like Russell Brand's, like the titles to his videos, they're very like to try to grab your attention to watch that video.
Yeah.
Remember, as soon as you plug into that energy, it's got you right where it wants you. You could choose at any time to watch something that's like, let's say, spiritually uplifting, or you can watch more of the problem. So anybody that's like promoting the problem, promote the problem, to me, like, they're a part of that game,
Yeah.
And just because someone wears a costume of fucking namaste doesn't mean you're fucking down for the set,
Yeah.
And because, and another point is like, look at someone like Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
They fucking locked him up. So the fact that he can't even say anything. So the fact that, like, if Russell Brand is promoting all this stuff and uncovering all these secrets, they would shut him up.
Yeah.
Why haven't they shut him up?
Right.
In fact, his audience continues to grow.
Yeah.
Whereas Tate, they stifled him.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, man, it was crazy seeing that because I also remember I told you that I was having like those night terror things where like I would sleep paralysis when I was in that house over off of Orchard,
Yes.
and then I was sitting out with my buddy Chris Thaxton, and the fucking Man in the Hat and the Old Hag Syndrome popped up on YouTube, and that was exactly what I was going through, which might be these fucking jinn.
Yeah, man. Trying to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Desperately.
Well, I'm sure they were in at the point. Because that was like the lowest point of my life. I was gaining weight. I was fucking trying to cheat on Kelly all the time, you know?
Oh, then yeah, of course. Like gluttony would be the weight gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, sloth, lust. Yeah, man, they got you.
All I cared about was money at the time,
Yeah.
you know?
Interesting. Yeah, man. And I mean, I certainly don't know, you know, I couldn't quote it, but in the Bible, like in Revelation, like in the end times where lies become the truth.
Yeah.
So even more, like Russell Brand's like a great example is we have to be constantly on guard that, hey, I'm questioning everything and everybody, you know? And then also like looking and seeing, just like we just talked about with Tate versus Russell Brand, like, hey, if they're shutting them up, then that's someone that's speaking the truth. Whereas if they're letting them speak, then they're working for them, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, and I guess Aubrey Marcus, like, he's not nearly as polarizing as Andrew Tate saying, like, fuck the Matrix or anything.
Totally.
He's like saying eat mushrooms and meditate. And
Yeah. Great guy.
Totally.
Yeah, I love Aubrey Marcus,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it was weird because after I left Hard Summer, I was fucked up for a minute.
Oh, I remember when we linked up after. Yeah, man.
I was a mess because it was a lot to take in. But this time it was like, oh, yeah, this is what they are, you know? Like, oh, wow, I'm glad I know what they are now, you know? Like, I know more information and it like doesn't scare me anymore.
Right.
It gives me like shivers thinking about it sometimes. But now I'm like, dude, they don't have any fucking power over me. These chicks didn't have any fucking power over me anymore. You know what I mean?
Totally, man.
Like, it was almost like, because they were trying, but I'm like, nah, I'm good, you know? And at one point in my life, they for sure did.
Oh, yeah, I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man, I just got to tell you, you're just the coolest motherfucker, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Bro.
You are too.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Crazy. Dude, just a righteous man.
And yeah, I mean, that to me even sounds weird saying that, right? Because I haven't been most of my life, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it didn't even fucking faze me. Like, and I remember thinking as I was talking to them, like, it's weird because I noticed one thing that you did, like, even when we had the deal with Laurel, right? Not that I saw any gin on her or anything like that, but she was trying to put a spell on you when you guys were talking, when you had your little moment there, and it didn't faze you, you know? But that same look you had when you're like, you know, it's almost like, I know what you're trying to do, bitch. You know, I felt that. And I remember thinking about that Laurel scene, like, oh, dude, I recognize this face that I'm doing right now, you know, like.
I know your tricks.
Yeah. I know what you're doing right now. You know, you're trying to fucking make me be a simp.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to get me to fucking simp out. I know what this is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You got your fucking workout going, you know, you've worked out, obviously, you know, you got all of the things you want me to be attracted to. Mm-hmm. And it was like it was almost like she knew, like cause she would turn around and show me her butt, you know, and I was just like,
dude, and man, when you say that, it's like she was not in control. Like the Jinn was controlling. Like, hey, man, what do we got here? What tricks do we got up our sleeve? It's like, nah, nothing working on. Who is this guy?
She's like, I like your style, you know, saying all the things that old Ken would have been like, oh, this chick.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you would have succumbed to the spell. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, I know your tricks.
I know what you're doing.
And I see your master.
Yeah, it's sitting above you.
Right.
Yeah, it's fucking little tail circled around you. And
yeah, man. Which is, I don't want that in me. Yeah, no way, man. Dang, dude, that's so just, I'm blown away, man. I'm blown away. Because it's going to get, I mean, we're playing this game, you know, in the physical, in this third dimension, you know, and we're always talking about money, and we're talking about like the, ultimately, that's just a part of, you know, this changing world and system. But it's like now, and it talks about in that book, you know, is that we're at this level of evolution, you know, you specifically, is where like you are seeing in these other dimensions.
Yeah.
Like you were like, I don't think that those arches and all of the decoration and everything at EDC, none of it is, it's all very intentional.
Totally.
And like you were saying, like,
and all the alcohol spots and the weed spots, and you know, everyone able to do just whatever drugs they want to whenever they want to, like you know, because there has been times where I've seen it not on anything, right? Because at concerts, like I told you, I went to Nelly and I was having like a hard time at Nelly.
Yeah.
And then I didn't go to any concerts after that for a long time. And we had that conversation about like, well, you were like, maybe this is like a good thing, you know? And when I went in, I was being super positive, like, hey, I'm just going to be fun. My friend Kevin, it's his bachelor party. I'm not going to be a complainer. I'm just going to go there, but I'm going to observe.
oh, wow.
So I just went there like a fucking scientist, like, dude,
Totally.
I want to see what's going on, right? And that's what I did. And I didn't tell anybody what I saw, really. I did, however, talk to Justin, like, dude, everybody's in a fucking trance right now. And he didn't really like, he may have picked it up. And I should talk to him about it and see if like he noticed it too. But it was weird, man. Because it wasn't like we were like, hey, let's go see this DJ or anything. It just like all of a sudden we'd get a drink. Everyone would have their beer. They would try to hand me one. Oh, no, I'm good. I don't need a beer. And then, you know, they would give me a little shit. Then they'd pass them around and then boom, we were off to the next spot, you know?
Yeah. Dude, just like we were telling with that when you guys were on mushrooms.
Yeah.
And just kept doing the same thing and changing positions, you know? Yeah. It's the same thing, you know? Oh, my gosh. But, you know, up where I really want to take you, up in the Sawtooths, I took some friends up there for a mushroom retreat back in 2019, actually. And, man, so I'm tripping in my tent, and I lay on my back, and I feel two beings, a male and a female, trying to get in. Like, I could feel their strong, man. Strong. And then when I felt it, I was like, whoa. And it was one or the other. I can't remember exactly, but either when I was face up, they were trying to get in, or when I laid on my stomach, they were trying to get in. And I think it was when I was laying, I don't remember, but it would automatically, when I would feel that, it's like, oh my gosh. And I would like turn away because like something was open. Like, again, when we take these substances, especially they're using those substances, which are, that's why it's called a sacrament. It's sacred. When you take it and you're going being a nincompoop and partying, like you're wide open to get possessed, you know? And so the same thing, like, hey, I'm wide open and I got these people trying to get in, you know? And something inside me is like, oh no, just turn over, you know, turn away, and they can't get in, you know? So it's, because again, going back to like the fact that like the police are allowing 100.
They're in there.
They are?
Everywhere.
What?
Yeah.
People are just like taking bumps.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Everywhere. There's cops everywhere in EDC.
And so obviously they're having meetings, and someone had to say, hey, we're letting them do drugs, or we're not busting them unless they're really being idiots, you know? So yeah, again, like nothing happens on accident. All these things are very well planned out, even to the day that they're happening. And
those cops might not even know about it, but they just get orders like, hey, people 100%. Are going to do drugs. Just let them do it. If they get sick, fucking help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the one giving the orders, or even the one giving the orders to the person giving the orders, or who knows how far up the ladder it goes.
Right.
someone's saying, yeah, we're going to let these guys, because that's how we're going to get into these younger people and corrupt them, possess them, and keep this, try to...
Well, think how many people, their whole life revolves around festivals.
Oh, yeah.
Like they go to work so they can do their 4 or 5 festivals a year. They go to them, they, you know, party or whatever, and they do shit, right? Like, I don't know.
They're fully possessed.
Yeah.
They're fully possessed. Like those desires to go live your whole life around going to festivals. Like that's not you. That's the jinn saying, hey, I'm looking forward to going to EDC because I'm filling up my energy.
Yeah.
I'm filling up.
Yeah. And they're filling up theirs too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. But then I wonder, like, conversely, like if the law of polarity, like if there's bad jinns and maybe we got like the good ones.
Yeah, I wondered that too. But yeah, I mean,
Like,
I also know that in the Bible it says 268 times that the mystics are no good.
What does that mean?
Like magic and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like angels.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying like, yeah, I don't know if there could be. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because I haven't experienced, you know, an angel. I haven't seen one. You know, I've experienced God's love.
Yeah, that you're experiencing the demons, but you have not yet experienced an angel. Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. Because that was one thing in Constantine is he could talk to both angels and demons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also a couple of times was like, I wonder if I fucking like, hey, Bob, I see you or something, you know, like they would talk back or something, but I never did. I just ignored them.
Why not ask?
Yeah.
Just like she says in that book, to build a shrine, you know, to put up like pictures of your ancestors. Because I mean, my very first ketamine at the clinic, like my ancestors were there, 100%. Like they're always with us, always. But if we don't like intentionally try to communicate with them and pray to them and thank them, you know, actually try to build a relationship with them, then again, we're just more like plugged into this dense material world, you know. But like you have experienced is that we are living on multiple dimensions.
Yeah.
Right here and now. And it's almost like we have to practice doing certain things, you know, to communicate and get guidance. Because I think it goes both ways. Like those people, all of the people who are allowing the jinn to plug into them, like they're totally unaware. They're totally unaware.
You know what I thought about was Jinn.
The drink?
No, the fucking chick that we know from the networking stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why she picked that name. Jinn the business, whatever.
Yeah. That's not her name? Real name?
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. But I wonder, I thought about messaging her, but...
Interesting. Yeah, if she knows anything about the jinn or what.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, I'm just... more and more like these weird pieces of a puzzle are like being put together, you know?
Yeah.
It's very interesting to be on this path. And like, I'm sure people watching and listening to this will be like, these are some fucking weird motherfuckers.
For sure, but I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
My point is like, I'm so grateful to have someone to talk about it with, you know? Because I believe you 100%. Yeah. That's why I said I wish I could see through your eyes to see them like you do. Like maybe I guess I'm more of a feeler than a seer. I don't know exactly. But I mean, I think that more and more as we move forward on this timeline, like those two worlds are coming to a head, you know? Something's happening.
Yeah. And one thing that I'm really working on is like, even at that networking meeting yesterday, like just certain things sometimes bug me, you know, and I'm working on controlling that energy that I put out. Cause that guy, when like Scott asked me if I retired from rugby, and I was like, yeah, man. He was like, oh yeah, you know, it's fucking rough sport. And he goes, how old are you? And I said 35. He's like, you're still a pup. Why aren't you playing? And I was like, how many fucking years of Premiership rugby did you play?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, none. And I'm like, yeah, I did 15 fucking years, dude.
Whoa, that's a career.
Yeah. My
Of
body
like getting hit by trucks.
Yeah. And I didn't play. Yeah. And I was like, and I wasn't playing with dark beer drinking lesbians. I was like, I was playing with fucking 280-pound Samoans and shit.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like, dude, why would you? I hate when people say shit that they know nothing about. You know what I mean? That guy was fucking 5'2", 220 pounds. Probably couldn't do 10 push-ups. And he's trying to give me a hard time about, oh, you're still a pup. It's like, dude, fuck you, man. But I was pretty rude when, like the way I said, like, how many fucking years did you play Premiership rugby, dude? You know, like,
because even that may not have been his intention to offend you.
Right. He was probably just saying, you still look young, you know, he's trying to be nice.
Yeah. And that was his only way of like trying to communicate and connect with you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But even again, man, that's high level shit for you to be aware of like those things that like trigger you and to be like, oh, like, why does that upset me? You know, what's causing that and how do I get over that and evolve past that, you know?
Right.
It's awesome. Because even like today, like when you got up and when you left to Sturman's, like that's what made me think like, oh man, like I might have cut him off. Like you seemed like a little annoyed. That's why like I was like, oh, hey, if I did, I'm sorry. I know I can fucking be like that.
Oh, I just had to get some work done. And I wasn't going to get any work done fucking hanging out with you guys. So
totally.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it didn't bug me because, again, I know that for a while there I was a giant blabbermouth, you know? Yeah, fuck. I'm very aware of that, you know? I was fucking telling customers that that I was fucking selling construction to, you know? But
my Lord.
Yeah, I was definitely the guy like, the world is burning, you know? Fucking get out while you still can.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we wear t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I know that silence is probably the best because most people, like, dude, if anybody hears this conversation, they're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys, you know? Yeah. But it doesn't bug me, but I know what I fucking saw, you know?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. And we can never take back what we've seen and experienced. And so we're strong enough to be like, listen, I don't fucking care what you think. I could care less about your opinion.
Yeah.
I know my journey. I know I'm on my purpose, you know? So I'm going to keep on doing it. But actually, like what we were talking about earlier, you know, about like that both the light and the dark are progressing is like the stuff we're into with like the trust and like freaking negotiable instruments. Like that stuff is blowing up, which that is the light. Because those are people that are like saying, hey, enough is enough. I'm taking back my sovereignty. Like I'm declaring that I'm not these things, you know, that those are the people waking up, you know, like it may not be as glamorous. I think it's quite glamorous. I like that stuff.
Why do you think that we see different stuff though? Then, I mean, you said that Will guy saw that he was like leading armies against, you know, the evil and stuff like that. Which is kind of like what we saw when we did the ketamine or whatever, you know? But like, why do you think that I see these jinn, you know, in certain times too? Like, it's not all the time. It's like, you know, when I went to Nelly, when I went to Hard Summer, and now, or on the flight from Miami, I saw it, right? Which was fucking weird. It was weird because, like, again, I get shivers, right, all the time thinking about it because it's like, it weirds me the fuck out that I'm the one that sees this shit. You know, it's not like now I know it's not breakfast conversation, you know?
Oh my God.
There was a while there where I was like telling people all the fucking time, you know, and they're like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude. I see dead people. Yeah, dude. It's kind of like when it's to me like Lord of the Rings, like the gang. Like you got the little strong guy. Everybody has their special powers, you know. Maybe someone's a sprinter and maybe someone's a strongman.
Yeah.
So maybe you have the ability to see
things that other people can't.
Yeah. And you're obviously on your path, like you're developing it more. It's becoming clearer, and it's becoming clearer as you're becoming more confident. Like it's like, oh, like I'm not apprehensive. I'm not anxious about seeing. I know they ain't gonna do anything. They have no control over me. Like that affirmation in and of itself is very powerful. It is like, you know, Jesus casting out demons. You're doing the same thing. You're saying, hey, you're the only one at EDC that could see them. Everybody else, they're in them. You're saying, oh no, I got a force field around me. You ain't getting in.
Yeah.
And I see your tricks, lady, and I ain't playing that game no more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I also think that on your journey, you had to see them. Because in order for you to progress and get to where you are right here and now, you had to have those experiences. You had to see this type of shit, you know?
Yeah.
And like I had like... And Will is a little different. We really got to talk to him, you know. But all three of us have had very similar visions. And to me, like, man, that is not an accident. And how I had mine in 2006.
Yeah.
And I've been now on this path for so long. And at every freaking step, it's like around the next bend is like, whoa, you know, this is... it is coming true.
Well, another thing I thought about too is my meeting you was a lot like me meeting Jim. Because when I met you, it was like something made me want to talk to you. And that was in 2013. And, you know, we've been off and on. And I'm guessing that probably the time that we're off is when we're both fucking or being pieces of shit. Right?
Yeah.
And then when we get together, it's like, boom, we get this like force field around us together. And then when I met Jim, it was the same fucking thing. Like, I don't think I talked to anybody else at that party that entire night. You know what I mean? And I don't think that you just get connections like that with just anybody.
I think that we don't.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
Like it is like that movie Cloud Atlas. Like I think that like as we played this game, like we're always going to link up.
Yeah.
Like I said to that person last night, like we're brothers just with different mothers. Like it doesn't matter. Like we're always going to link up, you know,
yeah.
No matter what in this game. And when we do, we recognize it. We may not recognize it consciously until years later.
Right.
But in that moment, like you're saying, like something feels like, I feel something, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like, it is God bringing the people together, you know? Because I feel the same way about Jim, you know? I feel the same way about Jim. I feel that about Sam. I feel and I feel that about Brian.
Yeah.
Like I feel those things, you know, for sure. Like, hey, and how it plays out ultimately, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either. And I mean, I had that dream, you know, that said that Brian ain't going to fucking jail.
Yeah,
he's gonna, whatever conversation you guys had, or if maybe you haven't had it yet, but some conversation that you and him have changes the trajectory, or sorry, I said that wrong, of what he ends up doing or going through or something. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys have had that conversation yet, but because we don't know, you know, I just got told in a fucking dream,
right?
Like, hey, Brian ain't going to jail. Just tell Brian what he feels like he needs to tell him.
Right.
So, yeah, it was fucking weird, but
yeah, I mean, I'm so into it, and you know, I have shared a lot with him, you know, because for some weird reason, like, and I said this to Sam, is that like we have a team, like Brendan, you know, Jay Griff, you know, like just because. Yusuf L, like, hey man, just because like we're not as close as you and I, like I know I can call a motherfucker. I talked to Brendan yesterday, you know, I know how I have these people, like I don't have to write a negotiable instrument. I can just have Brendan do it.
Yeah.
The guy that got his dad out of prison.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, dude, we have a team, man. And so like when it comes to like that with Brian, it's like, dude, like something inside me is like, dude, like that. I know that like that we have the team to like just destroy that contract or whatever is going to happen, you know? Because at the end of the day, it's all fake.
Yeah.
It's all a game, you know?
Totally.
But something that I do believe is like we cannot create in other people's realities.
Totally.
And so, man, it's like, hey, man, like, yeah, we might have that bond, but like if someone doesn't make the conscious decision to even watch a video, then it's like, oh, dude, like I may have the tools, but if you're not willing to listen, I can't go up to I can't go play the game with you.
I'm just thinking back to like when I started going through all this stuff, like it's weird because and I remember you said this to me one time, hey man, I've been playing this game for a long time. You've been doing this for a fucking year, you know? It's like, that's a great point. You know, this shit takes practice too, because we've been living one way for so long. Even though I didn't follow all those rules, I was still playing that game. And now I'm playing a new game. And it is difficult to like, it's weird. I still haven't finished my Sovereign stuff yet, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. And even though every single week I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this.
It's on the infinite to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Isn't it weird?
It's super weird.
But, and I don't know if you watched that video. Again, it's the one I posted in the Trust channel in the Discord. But
Yeah, I watched that.
You did?
Yeah.
So that lady, and this is what I believe too, she says, all you need is a trust. All this other shit, like, dude, it's not as powerful as the trust. And living through the trust.
Yeah.
Living through the trust, and then like that video of that guy is like, dude, you just play dumb. You don't play dumb because he knew what he was talking about, but it's like that comp with those comps were trying to cast a spell, and he was like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with hot chicks.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with everything. You know, it's, gosh, man, it just makes me think like. Even parents to kids don't speak until you're spoken to. When they go to school, like, dude, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's just trying to, come back over here.
Yeah.
Come over here to this side, you know, because again, I have always gotten a good amount of attention. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. From females. Mm-hmm. And then when I started gaining weight, you know, obviously that was less than. But it's like, as I'm playing this game, I'm getting more and more attention that I've never gotten before, you know, looks or, you know, just extra shit and it's almost like, remember how easy this was, you know, or whatever. I don't know. It's weird, but it was super weird with the women this weekend because that was the one that was trying to come after me the strongest, you know, and of course alcohol, you know, but that doesn't faze me, you know. I probably, because there are things like with my guy friends, like if you lose a game of beer pong, right? Like you got a shotgun of beer, right? Mm-hmm. So like I probably had 2 beers the whole week. That was the other thing too, though, is because I started noticing all of the magic that was happening around me. I started like thinking like, I'm going to make this guy miss the shot. So I would close my eyes and just picture them missing the shot and they would miss the shot. And I started like testing it. And then I also started like, I'm going to make the shot, close my eyes, boom. And I'd make the cup I wanted to make. It was weird. And I don't know if that was just, you know, me being a fucking weirdo, but again, like weird stuff is starting to happen to me, you know?
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. And I think like going back to like the attention, because even like you were born with like, let's say a certain blueprint or like, let's say a certain level of software you came with, you know, to me, like energy, the looks and things like that, like it has nothing to do with your physical body. It's you're radiating energy.
Yeah.
And it's like energy that no one else is radiating. And people are like, what's different? What feels different about this person, Like my sister was joking when we were on the cruise, and actually, and your sister Kayla said this too about my date with Laura is when I gaze into people's souls.
Yeah.
And so my sister was joking like I get everything I want because no one can say no to my eyes, So it's like it's energy that we put off, Like people are just like, what is different? Like our aura, like that shit's real, man. Like you're radiating energy.
Yeah.
And so like these people that are, if they're possessed, then they're not radiating, they're not beaming spiritual cosmic energy.
Yeah.
No way. It's dull light. And when the vast majority of people are radiating at that level, dude, you're walking through like a freaking, like a sun.
Yeah.
And so I think that, I don't know, it's what comes to my mind. That quote is, with great power comes great responsibility,
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, it was weird because again, I was afraid going to the concert, but I was also excited because EDC is fun, And I was just like, no matter what, I'm just going to stay positive. I'm not going to let Kevin know that I'm not having a good time. And I actually had a great time.
Yeah, nice. Of course.
Yeah. But it was weird because I felt comfortable, like knowing that I was the only person that saw all that stuff. No. Whereas before, like it made me nervous,
Yeah.
But I was like, oh yeah, I fucking see what's going on with you,
Right.
Before I knew she was going to come up to me. I saw her up there. I made eye contact with her and I was like, I bet you I'm going to see that bitch in like 5 fucking minutes. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then sure enough, she was standing fucking right next to me. And I was like, huh. And then she even told me, I saw you when I was up in VIP. And I was like, oh, you don't say.
The eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But I knew. And in Scarface, it's all in the eyes, Chico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild. I went on a walk today and you haven't met him. I tried to get him on the podcast, but he's headed out of town today. My friend Travis Chambers. He does the retreat that I went to.
Yeah.
I was walking today and we have father-son retreats to teach our kids like how to build a fire, how to shoot a bow and arrow, how to do these things and have like these rites of passage and stuff. Because he's got a son that's Noah's age too. And as soon as I had that idea, he popped in my head immediately. And I hit him up and I was like, dude, I just had this idea, man. We should have father-son retreats. He's like, oh, dude, I'm 100% in. Because even like at that retreat, he and I were talking quite a bit. And actually, when Noah and I went up there for the 4th of July, part of his and ours purpose is to like help men and help especially our sons and shit like that, reconnect, because we don't have rites of passage anymore.
Yeah.
Like our kids, dude, they know how to play fucking Roblox. They don't know how to build a fire.
Right.
Like, you're dead.
Yeah.
So like it is part of our mission and our duty to bring that stuff back, Mm-hmm. Oh, and I told Braden and he was like, oh, dude, 100%. In fact, he even said, and you have to lead it. I was like, oh man, all right. So yeah, dude, we got to get some, because there were a lot of like survival guys at that retreat. So like all of like the connections and stuff are there,
Yeah.
But I think that's something that's big, and as you become a father, like just knowing your heart the way I do, like, yeah, man, like we want to raise the best sons.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we have to be the best men.
Right.
We have to be examples to them,
Yeah.
So it's just something that I want to share with you,
Yeah, of course.
As time goes on, like, dude. And then the men's retreat up in Skillern, man, like we got to do that this summer,
Yeah.
100%. Like magic happens up there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that place is weird. Talk about, like you're saying, like another dimension. Like it is another fucking world. The very first time I went up there is that time that I time traveled. But the next day, as we're going home, the week before, that's when I first started doing meetings about the science at my office.
Yeah.
And I was posting them on Meetup, and I had a guy come in. His name is Esteban.
Hold that story. I'm peeing my pants. All right, Esteban.
Oh yeah, so Esteban. I mean, he has his degree in guitar, Spanish guitar, and so I met him a week before I went up to that campsite, and so I meet him here. I actually go to Big City Coffee with him for a one-on-one. And, he joins the science. We're working together. And then, dude, I go up there. I time travel. And literally, as we're done packing up and we're leaving, who comes walking up the fucking trail? Yeah. Stabbing his freaking lady, dude. And it was crazy, man. Wow. Like, I'm telling you, that place is a portal. That is... I mean, I can't even imagine what the odds are for that to happen,
Yeah.
I mean, it's... so far away from anything to just have this dude just pop out of nowhere. Just like a freaking, and I definitely think, because music to me is like and I just put that together because when I time traveled, I took myself a song, and that guy is a master of music.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa is right, dude. That's crazy. Because he is a wizard, man, for sure. Maybe not consciously, but, dude, that's that guy on the guitar, And knowing how to speak that language of the universe, After I just had that crazy experience, And then they're just fucking, oh, whoa, what the hell? Yeah, it's crazy, man. I really, I'm excited to go up there with you, and this shit's gonna... another level for sure, man.
Yeah. Damn. Well, I know that I haven't even heard about your trip. How was the fucking the cruise?
Awesome.
Yeah.
But let me tell you the best story, my man. Oh my God. So my oldest nephew, I think he's like 22 or 23. He's engaged to be married, just back from a mission. He just got back from his mission sometime this year. But he and his fiancée had to share a room with me and Noah. So before we go on the trip, I hit up my mom. I'm like, hey, bring me a bunch of gummies. She's like, all right, cool. So she brings me these gummies. And right as we're getting on the ship, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like freaking out. Like, what if they're going to check my bag? So I got to smuggle these in. I'm like looking around for something to like empty the pouches into. And she has this big bag of Nerds gummies. I dump them in there, get on the ship. Okay, they go and eat pizza. I go find something because, man, I went to the gym. I ate super good, like on the cruise. So like they're eating pizza. I went and found like just some burgers, and I come out and I go across to like some cantina where like I think I ran into them. So I'm talking to Hunter, what are you guys going to do? I don't know, and then I run into them again, and he and his fiance are sitting at this table. And I'm like, oh, what's up, guys? And she's like, oh, Hunter feels sick. And I look at him, I was like, oh yeah, dude, you don't look good, man. No color in his face. I can see his blue veins. I'm like, dude, have you drank? Because he's super fit guy, super into fitness. I'm like, oh, dude, are you dehydrated? How's your water or salt been? And he's like, oh, I don't know, probably not good. So I'm like, I literally took some salt, I put it in a bunch of water, give it to him, just all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. So I'm sitting with him. My sister comes up and, fine. He takes a bench. He's laying on the bench. He's like, oh, I can't even walk. I'm dizzy, all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, we don't know what's going on. She ends up having to take him down to the infirmary.
Wow.
Yeah. So she takes him down. They do an EKG. They're doing all these tests. They're like, oh, we don't know what's going on. So
I already know where the story's going.
So hours later.
Right.
And I'm talking, we're an hour on the ship. We're thinking he's seasick. We don't know what's going on. And then so I go in, we're all in the room together. And my dad's in the room too. And I they're going somewhere, I'm going somewhere else with the kids, and I go, oh, hey, by the way, don't eat any of the gummies in this bag. And he goes, are you serious? I go, yeah, they're weed gummies. He's like, oh, well, what if I already ate one? And I go, what? And my dad just starts cracking up, dude. I was like, what? Shut up. You didn't really eat one. He's like, yeah, I did. He's like, those are really weed gummies? I go, yeah, dude. I was like, oh, man, the Lord works in mysterious ways. I was so terrified of my sister, though. I thought, oh, she's going to murder me.
Right.
Oh, dude. But nah, dude. They all just laughed it off, It was wild, man. That was the best story for sure. Obviously, he had no idea, what he was. I don't even know. Because it was so unintentional, and he ate it, and I don't know what happened in his own mind. But then the second oldest, Corbin, he's a stoner.
Yeah.
And so he hit me up a couple days ago saying, oh, I heard the story of Hunter eating the gummy. I was like, yeah, dude.
That's funny because I knew exactly where that story was going before you started telling me this. As soon as you said you started feeling sick, I'm like, oh, that motherfucker ate a couple gummies.
Yeah, dude. But another funny story is we went to some beach in Roatan, and we're all just hanging out. And me and my brother-in-law are sitting, chit-chatting, and there was these black ladies out in the water just waiting and drinking and stuff. He's like, oh, that lady, she needs some help. They were drunk and big, 300 pounds, big ladies. Yeah. And she had fallen in the water, and then her friends are trying to pick her up. They're struggling. And so all right, so we walk out there. And I pick her, I get her up out of the water. I'm like, oh my gosh, and then we try to leave her alone. Nah, you can't stay. You gotta go. You gotta come sit down, lady. You're fucked up. So as I'm freaking lugging her in, and she keeps, damn, you so fine. You so fine. I'm like, oh, what's your name? What's your name? I go, whatever you want it to be. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna call you Jesus. Oh my gosh, dude. But the whole way up, dude, she just kept, oh, damn, you so fine, baby. You so fine. And I didn't even hear her say the Jesus part. That my brother-in-law heard her say that, and then mentioned it after the fact. But that was a weird experience too, man.
She probably had a fucking gin.
Yeah, for sure could have. Yeah, man, dang. Yeah, but it was fun, man. Like I was telling you, do the shirts. Just a hit, bro. Yeah. Every single day, people talking to me about it. Oh my gosh, dude. I had the guys design the QR code because no one really knows that it actually works. So I had them design something to say hey, click here to win or something like that, that we'll start using to promote. But dude, hit after hit, man. So many people talking about, oh yeah, I feel like something crazy's going on. Or I talked to people that had crypto, all this type of stuff. So dude, just a banger, man. And I really want to, I don't know, man. I love cruises.
Yeah.
So
I've never been on one.
Oh, you haven't? Oh man, yeah, they're fun, man. Because like it is like a city.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a casino. There's comedy every night. In fact, in the gym, I made friends with the comedian because he saw my shirt. Yeah, and he had crypto, and he was, where are you from? He's like, oh yeah, I used to do shows in Boise and stuff like that. And just talking about crypto and stuff like that. So, no, it was pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're awesome. I'd really like to go on one soon.
I would see how cruises would attract, crypto type minded people.
For sure.
Because like the most closed off people I know, they don't leave the United States. They're afraid to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have my friend Cameron Tiller, best guy, but I told him I was going to Mexico, and he's like, "Aren't you afraid of cartel members?" I'm like, "What the fuck do I got to be afraid of, dude? I've been there so many times, never had a bad time ever."
Yeah.
Yeah. What would I need to be worried about?
Yeah. It's like, dude, go Southside Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's crazy places in
and
America.
I've been there and had no problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. If you're scared to go to church,
Yeah, totally. But fuck, man. That sounds like a great trip, though.
It was fun. No babes, though.
Yeah, I figured.
Dude, all families.
I've heard that about cruises.
No, I mean, the first cruise I went on with friends, there were babes for sure.
I did hear, though, that a lot of swingers go on cruises.
I felt the same thing, man. For sure, there's some... for sure, there's some swinging going on there, man. Yeah.
Yeah, because... gosh, I can't remember. There was like an older couple that used to hang out at Hannah's. They like wear very like cowboy type stuff, and they're huge swingers. Like they're trying to bang everybody. You know what I mean? And they told me that they were big cruise goers because on cruises they meet a lot of other swingers and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what there's a lot of on cruises. Fat people. Yeah, man.
Dude, Ashley, my ex's dad, because he gambled so much, we used to get free cruises all the time. Yeah, he would win them on like the online casino stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, man. I don't remember what night, but I went to the casino, dude. I lost $200 real quick. I was like, dude, this is why I don't gamble. But then in retrospect, dude, I'm at the roulette table, and the lady she was probably the most beautiful Italian. I mean, fresh off the boat Italian, And there was this just drunk redneck, but I mean, being offensive and being just very pushy, and like even to the point where I was like, dude, like, why are you hitting on her, dude? You're freaking married. Like, you're making her uncomfortable. Once he left, like, she was holding back tears. So I stayed, like, I'm trying to, like, cheer her up and, like, crack jokes and stuff like that. But that's why I lost my money, dude. Like, that table was dead, dude. The energy was just diarrhea. Terrible.
We won on the roulette table. We put, like, a couple $100 on black and won on our way to, yeah.
Nice.
I've been very lucky lately.
You have?
I've won a couple poker parties lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roulette table. Yeah.
That was actually, that experience in retrospect was like, dude, you got to feel things out. Feel things out. Because then only after I left did I realize, oh, yeah, I lost because, dude, that table was trash. Yeah. She was so hurt. Yeah, man, she could. I mean, dude.
Yeah, really, though. Like that feeling I had that one time. He was the one that was hurt worse.
Oh, yeah. Great point. Yeah, great point. Because actually I saw him at the pool like days later, and he had like part of his pec was gone. Like it was an injury or something like that. And he did put off like military type energy, So I wonder, like, yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of emotional damage, going on, projecting it onto her sweet little soul, Yeah, because you could tell like she's a sweet, she's doing her job.
Yeah,
He's over here just freaking projecting onto her.
Yeah, it's
That's
the
a good
bullies
point.
that need the most help, you know?
Totally. Great point, man.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah, that's true, man. Well, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate
You're the
you.
man, bro.
Thumbs up.